Hello friends and enemies, welcome to or back to Happy for Now. With my October highs, lows, stats, all that good stuff. I don't go through every single book I read because generally speaking I read over 20 books a month. And it's a lot and I don't like doing mid-months and I don't like doing, I don't know. I just like doing it this way. It's more fun for me and more enjoyable to edit. So we're gonna go with it. But yeah, I'm here to talk about all the things I read this last month and of October was Blackoween and it was Becca's Bookopolothon. So I was really excited to dive in here. I feel like I had a lot of good books on my TBR and I read a lot of good books and I did manage to read quite a bit of the things I wanted to read. And I read a couple titles for both things. Bookopolothon was a little easier to adapt to my TBR, I will say. And Blackoween got me to read a couple things I've been putting off. So I'm very happy about that as well. Not in a bad way off, just like in a, oh, I need to read that. And I was like, I will save it for Blackoween. So that's a good thing. It was a good month for reading. October was fantastic. I'm really excited I love fall and winter reading seasons. I feel like when it's just like cold enough to be in a blanket and like curled up on the couch with your hot drink and to read is like the best feeling. So we're in peak reading season for me. So let's dive right into my stats first. I read 24 books for a total of 6,031 pages. My average rating was 4.26. This is manga really boosts me here. I listened to 36 hours of audio that is sped up. That's not like the regular speed of the book. I do calculate it based on the speed I listen. 4 titles were read from KU. I read 9 library books. And then for our age demographics, it was 20 adult titles and 4 YA titles, which also tracks for me. I feel like my YAs tend to be thrillers, or manga, so what I would categorize as YA for manga. Then for format wise, I read 8 ebooks, 11 audiobooks, and 5 manga. We will talk about the manga in my manga log coming on Tuesday. If you're watching this, I will have a haul and a log on Tuesday for you. So we're doing a little bind up of everything and I'm excited about it. All right, so after stats, we need to discuss Read What You Own. I've been kind of tracking what comes in and out of my home. I'm trying to be better and I'm trying to read what I own as much as I can and just keep this number going down. Did not do a good job this month. But in my defense, there was a Right Stuff sale as they closed down. You'll see that haul. I brought in quite a few manga because of that sale. There was a good bit of stuff this month. And it's okay. I'm not mad about it. It is totally okay that I had a bigger month than I usually do because November and December should be pretty low on the bringing in things count. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I'm hopeful. But yeah, I did up my TBR by 19 books. So my goal, honestly, for November and December will be to not up my TBR and to either be lowering it and or breaking even at the very least. Like 0 would be fantastic as well. So we'll see what I manage. I'm so nervous about it because like I'm not sure why, but I just feel like right now, I mean, it's just that kind of time of year, like there's been a lot of free sales, there's been a lot of stuff, and I don't track every single book I get for free on this because I don't really consider those a net negative or positive to my TBR because I pretty freely DNF things, especially things I get for free because like why torture yourself? But yeah, we'll see. Well, fingers crossed that I can manage more of this next year. Either way, I am still lowering my TBR because I did read books off my TBR, but I think just because I read so many library books this month, it didn't help. It just didn't help because that doesn't lower my own TBR. But yeah, so I'm ending the month with 816 unread on my Kindle and 207 unread manga. So that'll be a big goal next year, I think, to get through my manga. 112 on LibroFM and 140 on Audible. Just for a quick rundown. I'm not gonna like do every single number, but it's fine. I've got this. It's gonna happen. These numbers will be down by the end of next year. Next up, let's talk about my lows. I'm not gonna talk about my DNF because it's gonna be in a video later this month. And I kind of talked about it in my vlog a good bit, and I just feel like we can talk about it later this month when I do this video that it's for. So we're not going to discuss the DNF I had this month, but I did technically have 3 lows. First up, we have Teacher of the Year by M.I. Wardell. Now, this is a low because I thought I was going to love this book. I was so excited. A lot of people I know and admire and trust their taste love this book. First thing I realized after I read reviews, I think I struggled because it's first person present. Not my favorite narration style of a book, like to be told a story. The other thing is, now when I say this is a low, like it was still 3-star, like it was not terrible. Like I give it 3 stars for the rep and for a debut. Like I may try his second book. I'm not sure yet. But I think first person present was my biggest problem with this. I just struggled with something with the narration of the story, the way it was being told. I did not connect with either character. Again, I think it's that the POV we were given. I did really enjoy the ADHD representation and the anxiety rep in this, but it did also create this thing where some of the thinking was so cyclical that at times it was hard to read, which is a weird statement because I know that's how that can work for people. That's not how my ADHD works. Like, so it's also interesting sometimes to read ADHD rep that doesn't line up with how my ADHD brain works, because I know we're all different and we know this. Like, and I love that because it's interesting always to hear what and how everyone else deals with these things. So yeah, I really wanted to love this. I like the cover. I think he is just the sweetest author on TikTok. His TikToks are so fun. The narrator for the audiobook was good. It's the same narrator as the Wolf Song series from a certain author. And I think he's a really talented narrator. And something didn't work. Something did not work. So that's where we're at right now. And it's okay. Like, it's not the end of the world. I'm okay with the fact that I didn't love it, but like I just also was really hopeful for a new favorite author to read from that did gay romances, because we have more than we did, but we still don't have a ton. Next we have an arc I got, which is Daddy of the Sea. This is in the Monsters in Love anthology, and this one's by Gillian Graves. I hated this, and I felt so bad because I got sent an arc of it, and I really liked her last one, and I'm excited for her next Gargoyle book, but for me, this book felt too nonsensical in a way that didn't work for me as a monster romance, which feels like a paradox, I think, to an extent, because like monster romances to some extent are nonsensical and shouldn't make a ton of sense, but this made so little sense and just did not work for me. Like, something about it was not working at all, like the setup, the premise, any of it. So I just didn't like it, and I was a little sad about it because I was excited for a sea monster romance to enjoy. And, you know, it happens and it's okay. Like, I was just like, we'll move on. It's fine. Next, we have my surprises, which I do have 4 because I couldn't decide. Literally. Could not decide on these. So first up, I have Monster Mash by Latrexa Nova. Obviously, it's no longer Halloween, but this surprised me. We did a read along on my channel for members. Brie and I did. I'll link her down below. But yeah, we did this read along, and I don't know what I expected of this book, but I feel like it gave me everything I expected and more at the end of the day. And you know what? I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. I think it can be so nice sometimes to pick up a book like this that has a bonkers title, a bonkers setup, and like it delivers. She literally says, we did the monster mash, we all smashed. And she does smash like every monster possible in this book. Like, she delivered on the bonkers premise. She delivered on the bonkers title. She delivered on just leaning into being fully bonkers, banana pants. And I loved it for that. So this was just a big surprise. I gave this 4 stars. Trust me. I'm just as surprised as you are. Next, we have Go Hex Yourself by Jessica Clare. This is a surprise because I was so nervous to hate this book because Jessica Clare is it's kind of a known that she's another popular author that writes a really popular series. I'm not going to say what, but there's photos of both of them on the internet, and let me just say, pretty sure they're the same person. But yeah, I really liked this way more than I thought. Now, is it a book that I think is like going to stick with you for a long time? No, not necessarily. But this was still a really fun setup for a witchy read, considering how not fun some witchy reads have been in the past few years. Like, there's been quite a few not fun witchy reads, right? So I think that part alone makes this just like one of those books where I'm like, yeah, I like this. I dig this. I'm happy about it. Follow Reggie and Ben, our hero. Ben's aunt is like this eccentric old woman, and she hires Reggie to come help her, and she gets this job that pays like ridiculous amounts of money to basically be the witch's assistant. And we follow her journey on that, and her also falling in love with Ben and him falling in love with her, and them figuring out like how to trust people again, because they both have very broken trust with others. And I thought it was really fun watching them figure that out again and how to reconnect with other people. And I also just loved the aunt. She was so fun. So next we have King of Greed. I didn't love this as much as I wanted to. Now, I say that it's not like I still didn't give it 4 stars. It might be like a 3.5. I'm not really sure. I've still been kind of sitting with this title. I was very excited for this book. I loved Kai and King of Pride, and I think that's part of the problem. I loved King of Pride way more than I ever thought I would, okay? And I was so hyped for one of my favorite tropes done by Anna because I adore Anna's writing. And I got an arc of this and I devoured a good chunk of it, and then I kind of got frustrated. And then it took me a hot minute to finish it, and I actually didn't even like wrap up the book in my vlog because I just kind of don't know how to talk about what I don't like about this book right now. But I think one of my struggles is that I don't feel like I believe that certain things needed to happen for them to come back together. I think they could have worked through it without going through with the other thing. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read it yet, but yeah, I felt like that. I also felt like the end part was really, really rushed, and it just didn't quite fit the way I wanted it to at the end of the day, if that makes sense. I think it needed a little more pacing. It just needed a little more pacing at the end of the day for that end part, and it's okay. It happens. There were attempts to add more of a romantic suspense-esque elements to this one. And again, not a bad thing. It just, there was something off about it. We did get a really cute cameo of a couple from the first series that was really fun. But yeah, I don't know. Something was off for me and I hate it. Could be my mood too. I'm not sure. I've been in a weird place lately, so maybe that's to blame. And last but not least, a good surprise, which is Annie on My Mind by Nancy Gardens. This was the Lesbian Classics pick for the month of October. We had our live and we all were just like astounded at how good this book was. This is a YA book. This is written for teens too though. Like, it's not a modern YA that like is kind of written for adults in a weird way, or people who grew up reading YA. This is like a true YA book. And this is a book that I wish I had found much younger in my life. I wish I'd read it sooner. It really tackles so many issues of feelings and being a teenager and feeling like you're different and what it is for that young love bubbly feeling. Like, it was so good. If you have not read Annie on My Mind and you are queer in any way, I highly recommend it. I really think it's one of those works that it is a classic and deserves your attention even now, because I think it's really powerful to read. And it follows an author wrote it that was gay in the 50s, in a time where it wasn't allowed. And I think that's also really powerful. So yeah, Annie on My Mind was so good, and I'm so happy that it was so good. I'm so happy about that. But yeah, I can't recommend it enough. It's kind of, you know, it has its moments, don't get me wrong, but like it still feels so pivotal to where we are now in our lesbian text. So please read Annie on My Mind if you haven't yet. All right, let's talk about my highs. I'm so excited because I had such a good read. Like, this was a hard month to pick for. I need to note that. So first up, we have They're Vicious Games. It's like billed as like Get Out meets something else. I don't know. This is what you need to know about this one. Read it, number one. But this follows a black girl who goes to a pretty elite school because her parents teach there, and this family that has games every year. And these games are deadly. To find a wife for the men in the family, and these games are deadly, and I mean deadly. Not every year, but particularly in those years are deadly. I think the games happen every year, but like the husband ones aren't every year. Anyways, this one, oh my, it was so good. First of all, I have so many feelings about it. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time I was listening to this book. I did not want to put it down. That is what I want out of a thriller. It's YA. It is gruesome. Please check the content warnings. There's blood, gore, there's murder. There's all of it. I did okay, so like if you have similar taste to me and we have similar limits, you should be fine. But I was just like on the edge of my seat the entire time I read this. It was astounding. And Bethany had recommended it when we were out. She saw it at Parnassus and was like, this was really good. And I was like, I need to read that. That sounds amazing. And now I read it and I'm just like, y'all, this is amazing. What is going on? This is amazing. So yeah, I honestly can't get enough of, I'm like so pumped. This is such a good book. But yeah, if this piques your interest at all, I cannot recommend it enough. I'm so glad I read it for Blackoween. I'm so glad I read it. I'm so excited to have a new author to read when they have new releases every year, because this is fantastic. So good. And I just feel like we don't get books like this enough, so that just made it an extra treat. Like, it was like, it went for it and we were on the ride. Like, you got on the ride and you were on the ride. You were not getting off till the end type of read. So good. I realize that's really vague, but like, I can't tell you too much because I will spoil it all. Next we have Woven by Gold. This is the second book in the Beasts of the Briar series. No surprise that this is here. November's probably the one month you won't get one of these on the list, but this was fantastic. I loved everything in this book. It was a wonderful sequel, did not suffer from sequelitis. It kept the story moving, and I continue to just be ecstatic for book 3, which comes out December 5th or 3rd. I don't know. It comes out early December, and I will be reading it release day. That's all I got for you. And it will come out, and I will read it the same day. That's how it's gonna work here. So don't be surprised in that vlog when it's like, it's this day, I'm reading it, because that's literally what will happen. I'm pumped for the next book. I think this left me satisfied. Like every book so far, I'm very satisfied at the ending. So the wait isn't too excruciating, but I'm also amped to pick up the new book as soon as it drops. Book 2 continues our storyline around our heroine. She has, I don't want to say too much, but anyways, she kind of had to leave. And it's her coming back, and it also follows us learning more about the whys and what's going on with the Briars and why these things are happening. And it's so stinking good. So stinking good. Oh my god, it's so good. Okay, and last but not least is One Night, One Bite. This is by Drew Anderson, my first book by her, and I'm so mad I waited this long. It came out in February. Listen, it's okay. New favorite vampires. I need more in this world. I have no idea if she's writing more in this world, but I hope she is. I need to look it up, honestly, but I'm also now pumped to read her Georgia Arcana series. I'm pumped to read her Georgia Arcana series, whatever. Now too, because this was so good. So this is a quick novella, technically set around Valentine's Day, but you could read it anytime. So if you're like, oh no, it's not Halloween, you read it in February, it's fine. This has melanated vampires, aka black vampires, and I love the fact that they could like go out in the sun more and stuff. And it follows a woman who has left her husband and is gonna kind of get scorned by her family for it. And we follow her journey at this exclusive club where she ends up in the vampire area, and it turns out one of them is her mate, and we follow that. And it's very quick. Listen, it's a novella. It's like 80 pages. We're moving, but it's so quick and still gave me enough world building that I was like, I need to know more. I need the full world. Hold on a minute. I need to know more immediately. So like, I feel like I left this novella just going, wait, more, please, where's more? And then being like, there's not more. Crap. But that just means I'm going to go read her other series. This is seriously so good, so I cannot recommend it enough. I just had such a blast, and everyone I know that's read it loved it, so like, I don't think you're going to go wrong. But, you know, maybe you won't like it. I don't know. I definitely am not in that camp, and I'm hopeful that Drea is going to expand this universe, because that would be so cool. Anyways, that is everything for this little monthly update for October. Let me know your favorite read of October or your least favorite read of October. And if you don't want to do that, leave me a vampire emoji down below. This will be our last Halloween emoji. Sad face. I'm sad about it, but it's fine. We are also moving into my other favorite season, which is just like winter. I love having the tree up and the lights on and all that good stuff. So it's fine. It's gonna be fine. Anyways, you can leave that down below, and I will have links to all the books I talked about, as well as links to Be My Friend anywhere on the internet, and I will talk to y'all in a few days. Bye.
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions, we'll get away. This is what we